Yo, yo, yo. Today we're talking about what's it like to go 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles per hour on your skateboard. This is something pretty special to me. I've been trying to go 100 kilometers an hour pretty much for the past 4 years, and for a lot of the time I've been downhill skating, and this year I finally managed to accomplish it. It's literally been my New Year's resolution for like the last 4 years, and I haven't been able to find the right hill. I haven't been able to have the confidence. I haven't been able to have the resources in terms of community, people to support, etc., etc. So it's really special to me that it finally happened. And also, another reason I'm making this video is every time I've asked someone else in a forum or asked like the longboarding community what's it like, the answers haven't really been helpful. Like sometimes I ask these things, to just give myself a visual of what it's like, or to be able to prepare mentally, or to know what shortfalls I might have in my equipment. And yeah, they've just not really been all that helpful. So hopefully this video is going to be helpful to someone out there. One key thing before we get into this video is that everybody's experience is going to be a little bit different, because not all skateboards are the same, not all roads are the same, not all helmets are the same, and really all those small differences sort of play into someone's experience. Also, I think it took a lot of effort for me, like a lot of effort just to make this happen. So I don't know, just keep that in mind. If we go back to like what other people said to me, like only maybe two things were really reflected in my experience. The first being that it pretty much feels like 50 miles per hour. You're just going a bit faster. And the second, that it was more of an aggressive experience. By that, I mean that like everything was just dialed up a little bit more, right? So the wind felt more aggressive, like I could hear way more of it, and it was so loud. I could feel my board wanting to react to more of the road and more of the road imperfections. So if I went over like a wave or a bump in the pavement, like I felt it more. My wheels were also very, very loud. Like it felt like they were hitting the pavement far more aggressively, and you could really, really hear them. And yeah, it just felt like everything was sort of dialed up a little bit. Oh man, an ant. Fuck. Damn, nature's scary. But yeah, because the outside was so loud, I found myself focusing more on my inner dialogue and on my inner thoughts. Everything was so loud and so like, I wouldn't say visceral, but like so like, no, not when I say so aggressive, it makes it sound like it was really scary, but everything was loud that like I just kept focusing on whatever was going on inside me. So I was battling my inner demons a little bit more, my inner insecurities a little bit more, my inner fears like, oh, am I going to wobble? Am I going to whatever? But there's one thing that we did that really helped me be comfortable and confident throughout the whole experience. So one thing I think that we did really, really well is these t-shirts. Shout out Daniel254. Shout out Farron. You can get them, link in the description. Fourth wall shipping to US, EU, UK, and Australia too. If you're in my southern whatever homies, like yo, just hit me up. You can do a group order and I can ship them directly from Kenya. See you. Anyway, so one thing that really allowed this experience to be great for me was getting super comfortable with going fast. And the way we did this was we showed up to the hill and we just spent like hours there, bro. There was no pressure of, oh, you gotta do your best run now and then we're gonna go home, or there was no pressure of, oh, the weather might turn. No, it was a great day. We're just there. If you wanted to go super fast, you could go super fast. And it just really allowed for a lot of experimentation, a lot of different line taking, and just really finding the limits of the equipment that we had on that day. So when I say finding the limits of equipment, What I mean is trying different wheels, trying different like base plate angles, trying different bushings, and just seeing how they reacted to the road and how they felt going that fast, and slowly working my way up to being able to full tuck the hill top to bottom, pushing in aggressively, tucking as hard as I could, and just being as aerodynamic as possible. And just having that amount of time to experiment made such a huge difference, and just gives you that time to give me that time to just get more comfortable. The more runs you do, the more comfortable you get, and just learn those small idiosyncrasies as well. Yeah, before I talk a little bit more about like my setup and like what I did to it and what I experimented with, I want to talk about one thing that helped that comfortability shit I was talking about earlier, which was using walkie-talkies and actually having spotters. It's one thing to be confident that other drivers are going to stay in the lane when you're going down a hill. It's another thing to know there's no car, no bike coming up, no hazard, and just feeling free to send it all the way down. This time we had a lead car, and we were communicating with walkie-talkies, and just knowing that I don't have to throw an emergency slide at top speed because some dickhead decided to come into my lane or bike or whatever, just made such a difference. Just only having to worry about getting down safely, like, I can't tell you how much that made me relax and how much that probably made me skate better, you know. And the final important thing that really added to all of that was having the right equipment. I had really good setup, really good board, and I also had pretty good safety gear. It could have been better, but it was pretty good. I had my full face helmet, I had my back protector, I had my knee guards, all this stuff, and obviously we had the walkie-talkies. And between that, I didn't have to worry about holding back because I knew if I fell, that the damage wouldn't be that bad. It'd probably be bad because, like, bro, falling from 60 miles per hour, like, yeah, obviously that would take out the Hulk, bro. But yeah, just that added layer of security and comfort does make a big difference. And finally, let's talk about my setup and what I experimented with and what really allowed me to be comfortable and to send it as hard as I wanted to send it, right? So I had my Pro Model, ZM1s, and Magnums, right? My Pro Model was great. It didn't do anything special, but I was comfortable on it. And on my Pro Model, I had the perfect torque block setup. Shout out David Serati. Yeah, he designed a really good 3D printed torque block, but the positioning was special on the board, and it was in the perfect place where even when I was riding over chanda, over bumps and stuff, even though like my back truck was like shaking a little bit, my back foot position didn't move at all. I don't think I would have had the same experience if the torque block was any softer. So yeah, really did make a difference in terms of confidence for me. Another thing that I think was key was the wheels. I was on Venom Magnums and I skated Freshies for some of my top runs. Venom Magnums are a little bit softer than some other wheels, they're 74A, so they absorb a lot more of road vibration. They soak up a lot more of like going over bumps, and they reduce how much is reflected into your trucks, which sometimes makes your trucks less reactive to whatever's going on in the road. And it didn't make a big difference for me because I mainly skated Magnums, but my friend was skating some Seismic Alphas, and I lent him the Magnums for a couple runs, and he said that, yeah, the Magnums did make a difference and did allow him to feel more comfortable. So your choice of wheels can have an impact. If your wheels reflect too much road vibration, that can spook you a little bit. And dude, most of this skateboarding shit is 60% mental, right? So if you're spooked, that reverberates through your whole body and can lead to wobbles or can lead to poorer performance. So just having equipment that makes you feel okay, that makes you feel good, can allow you to do some of this shit a little bit safer and with a little bit more confidence. The trucks that I did use were the Rogue ZM1s, and they were insanely stable. I did experiment with a bunch of stuff. I was on a 20-inch wheelbase, and at the beginning of the trip I started on 55/23 with a wedge in the rear to 23 with the rear a little bit higher. But skating down that road, that shit was just far too reactive, right? It reacted to every little bump, every little imperfection, and bounced around a lot. Like my back truck was just moving around so much, and I just couldn't maintain my tuck and feel comfortable all the way down. I'd like break tuck halfway, start standing up, then get back in tuck, and I just didn't feel confident on it. Speaking with Adrian Paynell, he gave me some tips because I was like inquiring around and asking people what they were doing, and he was like, look, if the pavement is perfectly smooth, you can 110% trust in the stability of the ZM1s at probably most angles, right? But if the pavement has a lot of bumps and stuff, you may have to switch it up a little bit. He did tell me, I'm not sure if I can share this, that in Austria, that because the pavement wasn't like perfect and perfectly smooth, I think they were going like 110 and 120 kilometers per hour, that he had to change his back truck to 20 degrees. So he was running 20 degrees or something like that. And that allowed him to be able to sort of skate super fast and max out everything. So yeah, I switched it to 55/20, and that shit was insanely stable, my guy, right? I went from 55/23 with pink green in the back to 55/20 with pink white in the back, and that shit was insanely stable, bro. Like the difference was night and day. And I feel part of the reason I was so confident after was I'd spent a lot of the session sort of trying to manage some of the twitchiness and some of the reactivity I was getting from the 23-degree rear. And not feeling any of that from the 20-degree rear gave me so much more confidence to stay in tuck, to send it, and even though my shit was bouncing all over the place, just remain in tuck and to keep sending it. So really, that bit of time and that bit of being able to do multiple runs and experiment with different rear angles really made such a huge difference to that experience. Finally, let me talk about having imperfections in your setup and imperfections from the road. So one thing that I learned from this trip is that if your wheels have an oval, that also can affect your stability. Like if it's a little bit of an oval, maybe you can get away with it, but if more than one wheel ovals, that can make you feel like you're wobbling. When I put on perfectly round wheels, the difference was a night and day, but like I was far more comfortable and far more confident to send it down the hill. It did make an absolute difference, and I thought that's just something I should share with you. The road that we were skating had a lot of bumps, had a lot of waves, had a lot of dips, and I really did like that about the road. One thing I found is that roads that have imperfections on them are much more fun for me to skate. They're much more fulfilling, and much more validating for me, because if my setup can make it, if I can make it down with my setup, that means I'm really, really dialed in. I found with talking to a lot of friends and other people that if your setup isn't like perfect, if the road is glassy smooth, perfectly flat, but downhill, of course, obviously, you can get away with the setup that isn't perfect. But if the road has waves or things that can cause instability and your setup isn't perfect, yeah, you're going to have an issue. So why am I saying this? That's just something to keep in mind when you are going some of these speeds. You can't get away with some things on some roads, you can't get away with some things on other roads. Or if you're skilled enough, you can't get away with them. Like, dude, have you seen Dexter Manning in Gavin Rutherford's Soldiers of Downhill video? Like, homie is absolutely trucking it, wobbling down soldiers, whatever, and just absolutely sending it. And it's the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Like, honestly, that shit, crazy. I think the key thing for me, the key takeaway is that none of this would be possible without the community, without people being willing to drive me around, people being willing to spot the hill, people being willing to like give me tips on equipment. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for helping me achieve one of my dreams. Shout out to Tuji Amini by Sports Pesa for funding this trip. Amazing, super sick. And yeah, one takeaway I will say is that comfortability and just allowing yourself to have that time to experiment with small things make such a huge difference. Like from run to run, I would tighten my backtrack a little bit more, loosen it a little bit more, and just being able to have that experimentation made a huge difference. I hope this video has been informative, and I'll see you guys in the next one.